Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And this one is the third and final of the trio from Northlander, where, yeah, he was wanting to see the 3 diesel hydraulics. So, those of you who know your trains will know, yeah, would have known before this video even started what loco is going to be, except of course, yeah, the thumbnail would have given you a pretty big clue. So the 2 previous ones had us doing North Wales and South Wales, so of course where else would it be now but Western Scotland. I was quite surprised by that choice. I felt sure it was going to be the Welsh marches and finish off the 3 Welsh routes, but no. It is the Port Road, Western Scotland lines, and just as with the 2 previous ones, it's the entire length of the route, which means that this one is the longest of the 3 in terms of distance, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the longest of the 3 in terms of duration. This is going to take a while, this one. So we are starting at Stranraer town. I chose Stranraer town because previously every time Stranraer has appeared in this playlist, it's always been Stranraer harbour. So I thought, yeah, we'll make it the actual town this time, just for a bit of a change. It does not alter the actual length of the run, so yeah, we're fine there. So we're going from Stranraer to Carlisle, and we are stopping at all stations. I genuinely have no idea how many stations there are on this route. I've done this route several times, but I don't think I've ever done an all stops run on it. Certainly not if I'm doing the full length of the route, that's for sure. So that's that's the route. The loco, no surprise, it is the class 52, the last of the diesel hydraulics to be covered in this set of 3 requests. So we are taking the 52 in BR blue with 7 Mark 1 BR coaches. As with the 2 previous ones, the reason I've gone with 7 is this is the shortest consist I could choose, and it's for the same reason. The stations along the way, the vast majority of them are very small. I mean, Carlisle will certainly fit 7 Mark 1 coaches, but I have a feeling that's going to be about the only station that will. So, yeah, that's going to make the stops interesting, shall we say. As for the specifics, again, he did specify all of these. So this one is autumn and overcast, so wheel slip is quite likely, and it is 1 PM. So that is the setup. Let's get this up and running. And here we are. Now, I forgot to mention that, yeah, the thumbnail that I've done has us at Stranraer harbour. I only decided to do the change at pretty much the last second, so I can't be asked to change it, so yeah. I don't actually remember seeing Stranraer, the town, Stranraer town station before. So we've got a few, these look like black fives. It's very much set in the era of steam and early diesel. Over like a couple of routes that I've recently installed. So here we can see all of our coaches here. So let's let everyone on. There's not exactly a lot of people waiting to get on, but still. Right, while doing that, let's set up the cab. There's not a lot to set up in here either. There's nothing on the side or down here, so yeah, I really don't have a great deal to yeah, get set up in here. No instrument lights. Can't find the switch to do the interior cab lights, because it is a bit dark and a bit murky in here, which is not surprising really, given that yeah, it is autumn and the weather has been set to overcast. Anyway, brakes have been released. Carlisle is, as near as damn it, 107 miles away. Let's get underway. Good amount of smoke coming out of here. It's not increasing as we increase throttle. So, in the same way that yeah, the Class 35, which had been the first of these vids, was the high mech. Class 42, which was in the previous vid, is the warship. This thing here, the Class 52, is called the Western. And despite the fact that it is Class 52, I've a horrible feeling I'm just about to go through a red light. Well, according to the route display, there wasn't a red light for us, so well, let's hope for the best. Now, yeah, as I was saying, we were also in a 45 zone. Let's get some proper speed up. Yeah, despite the fact that its TOPS designation is Class 52, this is a Type 4, and rather like the Class 42, this thing gets its power from the fact that it has two engines, not just a single. And those two engines combined give this 2,700 horsepower. So, yeah, it is certainly a Type 4. It is somewhat heavy, certainly heavier than the Class 42. So I think the additional weight allows for improved traction, and therefore there won't be as much wheel slip as we pull away from stations. We're currently on a 1 in 86 uphill climb, which is why our acceleration rate is far from impressive. Class 52 was the last of the diesel hydraulics to be introduced. They didn't enter production until 1961, so you know, a good 6 years after the modernisation plan, and yet just like the two previous diesel hydraulics, they threw the whole modernisation idea out the window, not by the fact that this thing was not modern. This thing was proper cutting edge stuff in 1961. But it was the whole thing about having a particular loco that was, you know, very standard, and therefore maintenance would be pretty straightforward, and you know, replacement parts not a problem. No, there is pretty much nothing standard about this thing in any way. Now, according to the signal there is something coming up which might result in a red light. Coasting along, we are okay as far as the 40 mph speed limit as we approach Castle Kennedy station. A light aircraft over there, it could be Northlander following us. Now, as far as the brakes on this thing go, yes, it is vacuum brakes yet again. But they are much easier to operate than the two previous diesel hydraulics. The fact that this is a diesel hydraulic instantly gives you the you know, the idea that this is not standard. The standardised locos, none of them used hydraulics for the you know, hydraulic transmission. Although admittedly a hydraulic transmission does certainly make a lot of sense. Yeah, we've got plenty of light aircraft taking off around us here. There must be an airfield quite close to Castle Kennedy. Still, here we are. So the yeah, first 5 carriages fine, but the rear 2, not a hope in hell. Well, actually this one, yeah, that one, they could have got out there. Anyway, as has always been the case in these runs, it's quite a short stop. Away we go. We'll leave the almost never-ending stream of light aircraft taking off behind as we enter a 75 mph zone. So our ETA tells us that this is going to take the best part of 2 3/4 hours. So yeah, this is certainly going to be, yeah, we're certainly in for the long haul here. But 52 was never known for being, you know, an absolute speed demon. Yeah, we're up to 50. We are on a downhill gradient, admittedly it's not a particularly steep one in 300. But our acceleration rate is not exactly monumental. So we have done Radget, I guess it's a station, it's an extremely small one. Everything's all looking pretty good at the moment. Yeah, the risk that I thought there was of there being red signals has certainly not come to pass. Now, I'm not sure whereabouts the gate is that it's mentioning on the route display there. But yeah, all the signals are saying everything is fine. This might be the gate here then. Now this station looks vaguely familiar. Yeah, I remember doing a career scenario on this route, and I think it was at this station that I got an insta fail because I was in a class 20 and this signal here was red, and of course I couldn't see that it was red, and I went barreling through there at about 65 mph. Yeah, I was doing really well up until that point, but there we go. Right, that stop is done. So yeah, that's done Radget. Didn't really get to see much around. Not a huge amount here. Looks very much like one of those small sort of picturesque villages. So we have a 40 mph zone which we are approaching. Looking at it, it looks like it could be a weak bridge or something, which is why we are going to be limited to 40. So yeah, here's this section with the gate that it's talking about, but it doesn't really say anything. Okay, so it's points we're going over. There's no sign of any actual gates, so yeah, quite what those gate things here are referring to, I have no idea. Anyway, we've crossed the points fully. We're now in a 60 zone on this single line. But it's obviously not as hilly or mountainous or whatever as you know, West Highland line or Kyle line, but you can't argue it's still a fantastic scenic locale. looks great. So it looks great. It certainly had a very important purpose, a very important role to serve for the people living out here. So of course you can bet your life that Beeching was at least going to try to axe it. I don't know if he actually managed it. I'm not deliberately doing the train horn that quickly. That is it. Yeah. So we can get ourselves up to 60, except we've got some very slow speed limits coming up as we are approaching Glenluce station. In fact, yeah, let's we'll let the uphill gradient slow us down. We won't throttle up. We still have about 10 mph we need to lose. We will have to brake to get us down that much. Glenluce viaduct, which we are now on. Yeah, we got to really slow down again. 'cause I'm pretty sure we are going over these points. Yeah. One in 83 uphill. I noticed our speed was really coming down fast, and that's why. Well, it looks like a black 5 there, that steam train. It's unlikely that you'd have black 5s doing freight runs up here. Well, the rear coach hasn't got on, everything else looks alright. I did open the doors, didn't I? Yeah, I'm clicking, but yeah, it's not letting us, doors are not opening, so, well, we've done the stop, but no one's able to get on or off, so let's get back on the way. So this is only the second time that the 52 has appeared in any of these videos on my channel. The first time was again a request by Northlander, and rather like this one, it has the 52 in an area that is absolutely nowhere near where it used to run. 52 never really left southwest England. It was, you know, Cornwall, Devon, Somerset, Dorset, the usual sort of areas. I think the furthest it got, you know, to Scotland is Bristol. Yeah. One in 90 uphill climb again is impacting on our acceleration rate. We would actually be accelerating faster if we were in a steam train. So, yeah, seems unlikely, but yeah, that would be the case. I think this is one of the reasons why, yeah, this is going to be quite the long old vid. There's a lot of gradients here, unsurprisingly. This is Scotland, and yeah, the old 52, despite the fact that it ran so often in, you know, Cornwall and Devon, where there are plenty of gradients to deal with, it doesn't seem to be particularly great at dealing with them. This could be one of the reasons why the 52 had the shortest sort of you know, working lifespan of any of the diesel hydraulics. I mean, okay, not coming along until very late in the diesel hydraulic era didn't help either. Anyway, we are now in a 60 zone. We've only just reached 50 mph. Still on this 1 in 90 uphill climb. Now losing speed as it's got steeper. It's now 1 in 83. because we are going downhill. Now I need to, control our speed through braking a bit. Ground has leveled out. Quite a scenic part here. I'll do like that. And the state of this train, you can barely read the head code there. 1 Charlie 37. It looks like we are approaching another station. So Carlisle station, yeah, it is. We're picking up speed here, yeah. I didn't notice that until it was too late. 1 in 100 downhill here. Signal shows it's all clear up ahead. I don't think we're going to see another train at this station then. Well, that's fine. Ground has leveled out, so our way's fine, yeah, or rather, yeah, the route that we're about to turn onto is fine. Just a bit slow with the braking there. No, there is no other train at the station there. So yeah, a good number of the coaches are at least, yeah, people are able to depart, but yeah, the N2, no chance. I think that's going to be the case for this entire journey, well, until we reach Carlisle. Anyway, this is Kirkcowan. Quite nice. Right, doors are shut. Away we go. Just had to ease off the throttle a bit there. We would have been speeding briefly. We are back on the 1 in 100 downhill gradient again. Accelerating quite nicely. We are accelerating a bit too fast. Well, now that it's leveled out, it won't be such an issue. Yeah, let's just take it up again. Yeah, so entering the 60 zone. Now in there, so we're fine. Passenger view. Yeah, like I was saying in one of the previous videos, I mean, this is rail travel. Much better than the guff we have to put up with nowadays. So on a 1 in 150 uphill climb, so it looks like we're pretty much maintaining our speed here. It is coming down, but at such a slow rate, it's not really worth worrying about. So we got a relatively steep downhill section fast approaching. Yeah, 1 in 100 again. We're gonna have to watch our speed here. station coming up with a very slow entry. So it's now 1 in 86, this downhill section. Stewart is the station that we are approaching. It's still a mile away. Signals seem okay. But it does look like we are again going to be coming off this main line at the station, and that's why that 15 is there. More points that we will be going over. The line that points it's taking us to is fine. Looks like a relatively major sort of junction here. It looks like everything is going off into, like, you know, sheds and depots and what have you. It's not like, you know, a lot of lines are all meeting and joining up here. So anyway, we're okay for the speed limit, which came into effect before we, or before it shows on the route display. There's another black 5 that we passed. So that's obviously been waiting for us. So again, I've overshot so as to try and get as many of their coaches onto the station. In fact, I've timed that quite well. Yeah, as always, the rear 2, not a chance. This thing could get underway, except yeah, the signals are making sure it doesn't. Fairly long stop here, door's still open. There we go. Anyway, yeah, this is Newton Stewart. So considering the rural location, it looks like it's quite a major stop. Back onto the single line. I mean, this is going to be single line for pretty much the whole way until we join the West Coast Main Line and we're not on that for very long before we are actually into Carlisle. This 50 mph section coming up here. Now it's 1 in 100 gradient we're going down, means we are still going to be accelerating, so we are going to have to control our speed again. See, that's the kind of view that I really like. You know, all the rolling hills off there in the distance. So yeah, here, I mean, you got everything. So you got the river, you got the forest that's over there, you got all the rolling hills there. I mean, it's got the whole lot. It looks so good. A more modern sort of viaduct. Don't look anywhere near as good as the ones, you know, the Victorian ones with the arches. This the Palnur platform, I really don't know what it is. Okay, well, it's pretty much what it says. But obviously, yeah, a station that is no longer used. Now in the 50 zone here. We've got a fairly steep uphill climb coming up. So I mean, can you imagine living somewhere like that? Yeah, I could. So I'm a 1 in 80. You really need to try to reduce the loss of speed. In fact, we are gaining speed, which we don't really want to do because we have this 40 mph zone coming up, quickly followed by 20, so that must be approaching another station. Creetown is the station that is approaching. Looking clear at the station. Again, we will be going over the points here off the main line. Ground does not level out at any point in this station, so yeah, definitely need to take that into account as we leave here. So again, first 4 coaches are okay, the rest not a prayer. Well, we don't need to take on water, so yeah, we'll leave that. Well, that was a short stop. Anyway, yeah, this is Creetown. Yeah, make sure we don't roll back. Still have 77 miles to do and I'm now out of tea. This is catastrophic. Back into the 50 zone. Climb is once again really impacting on our acceleration rates. Now 1 in 78 we are accelerating, but at a painfully slow rate. a 60 zone, but yeah, acceleration is still very slow. Station coming up, Gatehouse. Again, we'll be turning off this line. In fact, okay, that 20 mph came in way before it showed on the yeah, route display there. I think 4 are able to get on here, certainly not all of them. I didn't catch the name of the station. It's not just Gatehouse. Gatehouse of Fleet is where we are. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly a picturesque locale, that is for sure. Right, onwards. In 64 downhill now. Oh yeah, we've really got to watch ourselves here. So into a 40 zone. And now into the 50. We will let the yeah, let gravity do the acceleration for us. now 1 in 60. And we do have a speed reduction down to 40 when we reach the bottom of this slope. So I'm going to have to start braking a bit now. Yeah, here is the big water fleet viaduct. It's actually on a 1 in 76 uphill. It's a big old viaduct to cross over what is quite a small river. Now 1 in 76 down. had a really impressive viaduct, another extremely large viaduct for crossing such a short river. Anyway, we are now once again on a 1 in 76 uphill climb. How could we end up speeding going up along something like that? So it looks like we've got another station fast approaching, an extremely small one. Now, does that mean there are no points or anything there? Could it be two lines going through this? So Locomotive, if I pronounce that right. Does look like there are points, but we are not going to be going over them. We get right away this time. Wow, I mean, look at this bloody tiny station. It looks like it's just been made out of a few sort of like planks of wood nailed together. Yeah, one coach, that's all that we can get on there. And will the doors actually open on it? Yeah, in fact the doors opened on 2 coaches. So here we are then at the banks of Loch Scarrow. It's certainly a scenic location if ever I saw one. Looks fantastic. But right, what I am going to do, obviously it's not going to make much difference to the video because yeah, the video is just going to resume as normal, but I have to take a break. This is the 3rd consecutive one of these long haul ones, and my concentration is absolutely shot to pieces. So yeah, I am taking a break, but for you, well, we get a slight jump cut and we will be resuming pretty much straight away. Right, well, it's been over 24 hours since that first part. So let's get back on the way. So, right, Loch Scarrow, that's where I was. So I didn't even know, yeah, whereabouts I'd saved. Right, we've got greens here, we are all set. So how far do I have to go now? 66 miles, so yeah, I only did 40 miles then yesterday. So not even halfway. Well, we'll have a go. But I mean, I'm not going to lie, this has not been a favourite run. The problem is, the route is like, it's a great route. I do really like the scenery of it, but it is definitely not a route to try and do the whole distance in one run, because it's very slow. For the vast majority of it, you're not able to do more than 60, which means it really, really does drag on. So you don't want to be doing, you know, the full distance. I mean, I have no problem with long distance runs. I mean, look how many times I've done London to Birmingham. That's, you know, 115 odd miles. But with that one, even if I'm on the slowest line, which is the Chiltern line, which is a route that a lot of people seem to be sort of like unaware that I have. Because every time I get asked to do a London to Birmingham or Birmingham to London, it's always on the West Coast main line. The only time the Chiltern line's ever appeared is when I took it upon myself to do it. But yeah, that distance, no problem, because you're in you know, you're driving a train that can do 125. Well, the vast majority of the time you are. If you're doing a freight run, then you might be a bit stuck. And yeah, the downhill gradient here. And I mean, look at another really long distance one, the Newcastle to Edinburgh one. Now that one is as near as damn it 125 miles. But again, you've got a lot of 125 mph sections. So although it is a really long route, it doesn't drag on because you've got that sense of speed. But this one, yeah, it's 107 miles, and yeah, for the vast majority of it, you can't do more than 60 mph. In fact, for the vast majority of it, you can't do more than 50 mph. So, you know, if you want to see the scenery of this route, then yeah, you got plenty of opportunities, because, you know, but do it in you know, in bits. I mean, I've done 2 videos on this channel where I have been in Stranraer harbour, either starting or finish. Well, starting or finishing Stranraer. I mean, obviously here we are. We started at Stranraer town, not at the harbour. But yeah, on the 2 previous videos, yeah, I stopped at Dumfries. Now, on one of those vids, I did originally intend to go a bit further. I was going to go on to Annan, But even that felt too long. I just couldn't do it. But yeah, in this run, once we get to Dumfries, we've still got a fair way to go. Once we get to Annan, we've still got a fair way to go. And it's just too much. It also doesn't help that while the 52 is not a bad loco by any stretch, it is not quick, and its acceleration once you reach about 45 is quite slow. So even if we were on a stretch of the line that allowed us to go, I've massively mistimed this, but yeah, even if we were on a stretch of the line that allowed us to go, say, 100, this thing, first of all, there's no way it's going to make 100, and yeah, the acceleration from like 45 up is painfully slow. So we're into the 15 zone, still on this 1 in 72 downhill, so again it's very slow acceleration. We've got another black 5 there. It certainly looks like a black 5. I mean, I was hoping that on this particular line we would see a few 9Fs, but no. Mind you, I will double check that one that we've just passed. Looks like a bit of a weird setup on that particular train. Double check that if it doesn't pull away once we stopped. So yeah, front 4 carriages again. None of the doors have opened, so okay, well, while we're here, let's take a look. Yeah, that's a black 5. I'm sure at this end it's going to be another one. Yeah. See, I was really hoping that yeah, we would have some 9Fs here. And the reason why I was thinking we would, let's just take a look around New Galloway. But yeah, the reason I was thinking we would is because when you get the 9F Loco DLC, you do get career scenarios for it, and it's on this very line. So yeah, I was not so much hoping, actually. It's more than that. I was pretty much certain we would have yeah, some 9Fs running here. This looks like a relatively major station for this area. Briefly 3 lines there. And this 1 in 121 downhill is, yep, has us continuing to accelerate. Oh, that was a bit of a bumpy one there. We were very close to speeding then. Yeah, it does look like we're leaning quite a bit. Anyway, we're now in the 45 zone, so let's get underway. Yet a further speed reduction down to 30 coming up. Now, I was just going to say, it better be just for that viaduct. In fact, once we have passed it, we're soon going to be in a 60 mph zone. Which, okay, it's still not fast, but it's a downside faster than we have been doing for a little while on this run. And in fact we have another station. So Parton, which this is another thing that's making the run very, very long, is that it's an all stops one. Now, all stop services on a route like this, yeah, you would expect that every single time, but yeah, it means that a run that I'm already finding is dragging on for far too long drags on even further. Oh, this is a I don't remember that bridge, but yeah. They weren't too shabby. Anyway, let's get ourselves up a bit closer to, a bit closer to 45. Obviously, we can't go too mad because we got this stop coming up. Quarter of a mile. This must be quite a minor stop, this, because yeah, single track. There's no passing points here at all. I think I could have got quite a few, I think I could have got actually the entire train on this platform. Yeah, I mean, they can get out of this carriage. Alright, anyway, that stop done. And that's one thing that's working out in my favour. The stops are all quite short. So anyway, this is Parton, and look at this for scenery. So we're right on the shore or the banks of this loch here. Now, admittedly we're not in the Highlands, but we've got the Highlands in the distance there. We have the forested areas. I mean, it's got a bit of everything. What a fantastic location. See, somewhere like this would have been a great finishing point. Because, yeah, to finish in a location like this, yeah, it would have been well worth the journey. do think in this game they have really underpowered the 52. The Class 52 was capable of 90 mph. It was not only was it quite a powerful loco, so it was a Type 4, it wasn't far off being a Type 5, but on top of that, it could do 90 mph. But they've got it really struggling to accelerate from beyond 45. I mean, here we are, alright, we're on a 1 in 125 uphill climb, but our acceleration is dismal. We're not even doing 55. Now that is, yeah, a fault with the way the loco's been done. The same also applies to the Class 31. That's a loco that is capable of going way faster than it actually does in this game. In this game they've crippled the bloody thing. So we're going to need to get our speed down a bit as we approach Carlisle station. This looks like this is going to be quite the scenic location as well. Maybe not quite as much as the previous one, but still not going to be too shabby at all. So again, we are going over the points. Just about got the timing right there. Looks like the 5 carriages are able to get on. Yeah, this door hasn't opened. I mean, immediately, yeah, the door's this end. I'm sure there is another door at that end, but anyway, this is Carlisle. Compared to a lot of the Scottish villages around here, this is a fairly large one, but yeah, again, look at this for a scenic, you know, scenic location. So we got the loch here. We got the rolling hills around here. We can still see the highlands in the background there in the distance. We've got the forest. Again, we've got a bit of everything. Not quite as scenic as the previous one, but it still is none too bad at all. See, and this is the good thing about this route. So many, like, fantastically scenic locations. I just wish the line speed was faster. Or, I say, yeah, not trying to do the whole thing in, you know, one run, taking up, yeah, the entire length of the route. Also getting rather irritated by the very hefty amount of stuttering that's coming along every time a new section of the route has to be loaded in. It might have been an idea for me to reboot the PC prior to doing this, but oh well. Right, so into the 60 zone, let's get some speed up, or as much as we can in this thing. Then it gets reduced out to 45 again. Mind you, going above 45 in this is, yeah, is a bit of a struggle. Well, that 45 section is relatively short, just over half a mile. But we're still accelerating up to it, let alone, you know, having a brake for it. We are approaching downhill. In fact, this could be why this speed reduction's here. So 1 in 100 downhill, and yeah, once we reach the bottom of it, that's where the 60 limit resumes. Yeah. I don't think that car would have survived that impact somehow. Well, we are back in a 60 zone. There was no sign of any trackside signs there. That was purely in the route display. Castle Douglas, next stop. I know this is considered something of a major stop around here. Looks like it's loading in a fair bit, hence why there was a hell of a lot of stuttering there. Castle Douglas pretty much signals the halfway point of this run. fine as far as the speed goes for the approach. So yeah, we have another branch line joining us here. I'm not quite sure where that line is coming from. There we are, we've got the whole train on the platform here. Excellent. And all of the doors opened. So here we are then at Castle Douglas. I think the actual castle that yeah, this place is named after is long gone. I'm pretty sure that's another Black 5. So yeah, we're only getting Black 5s on this route. I like that it's treating this as a fairly major stop. This was a much longer stop than any of the other ones. But yeah, this is certainly the largest town that we have been through since we left Stranraer. And yep, I'll say this is the halfway point. This certainly looks like quite a major part of the rail network around here. And I think we've still got a fair way to go before we reach Dumfries, which is going to be the next sort of like major town. And then yeah, after that we have Annan. I don't think we are going to be going through Gretna. I think after Annan we take a different sort of, yeah, we go onto a different line and enter England. In fact, it might even be that after Annan we join the West Coast Main Line. So 1 in 91 downhill. Thankfully it eased off a bit. 1 in 169. Yeah, it's not so steep, so we are not gaining speed. perhaps it's a 50 section fast approaching. That is properly getting on my fucking tits now. So into the 50 zone. So on this rather raised sort of embankment here. Oh shit. Yeah, 1 in 100 downhill, I didn't see that. Dalbeattie station is coming up. We're now in a 60 zone, but we'll let this do our accelerating for us. We have a 40 mph approach to the station. I'm wondering if we're actually going to be on the, yeah, if it's going to be 2 lines the rest of the way. Don't get that happening too often. Did look like another black 5. Slowing down a bit too much, so alright, well, it looks like we're going to be staying on this line. So here we are at Dalbeatty. I can just see a couple of carriage doors have opened right down the end. Yeah, so only one carriage carriage has actually had its doors opened. I have no idea why it's just that one. I mean, you can clearly see all the others that could have opened their doors. So yeah, Dalbeatty, I mean, this is not a village, this is a town. This is far too big to just be a village. So we're entering a 50 zone. I'm pretty sure we'll be in it before we hit 40 mph, but there's no doubt about it. There we go. Right, thinking about it, I don't think my lack of reboot is the cause for all this stuttering. The cause is that I installed another couple of freeware routes since I did part one of this, and I had to clear the cache. So the cache is in the process of rebuilding itself. And that's what's causing the stuttering. So we're on a 1 in 100 uphill climb. And that is not going to help our acceleration one bit. We do have our next stop coming up, which is Southwick. So we're in a 60 zone, but we will have to slow to 50 before we approach the station. I'd be amazed if we are even at 50 at that point. In fact, yeah, we need to start braking a bit here. Never mind Southwick, Wick is the station that I wish we did have in this game. Love to see the Wick to Thurso line added to this. Even if that was the only part of the North Highlands line added, I'd be alright with that. It would be fantastic if they had the whole thing, you know, going from Inverness up to Wick and then up to Thurso, but I think that's asking a bit much. Looks like we've got 5 carriages on the platform, and all the doors did open this time. So this is Southwick. Again, fantastically picturesque place. I mean, it does look like, yeah, they've got a railway built here for 4 houses. Onwards. We are heading uphill again, 1 in 150. It almost feels as though they've coded this loco to only be using one of its engines. It would explain its very slow acceleration and the fact that it just doesn't seem to be able to get to the top speed that this loco should be able to do. So even though we are still getting stuttering, it's nothing like as bad as it was. So the cache is getting rebuilt. Anyway, Gunson is the next station. I think once I've done this route, I will still do a reboot just to at the very least eliminate that possibility. We have another Black 5 heading towards us. So again, 5 carriages. The 6th carriage is just getting on the platform, but no, we would not have been able to get 6 on here. But again, even though this door obviously couldn't be opened, but yeah, the middle one and then the one this end definitely could have. That was a short stop. Anyway, this is Gunson. Yeah, so there's the village there. Again, very scenic locale. Doesn't have the water features though. So according to our ETA, we have about an hour to get to, before we're at Carlisle. I think it'll be slightly more than that. The waterfront here, admittedly, is a lot smaller than actually being on the banks of a loch. So another station coming up. Carlisle, a very small station by the looks of it. I think they know we're coming. Yeah, I'm going to front 3 carriages here. So, yep, this is Carlisle. Now, are these going to stop at the... yes, they are. Quite a long stop here, actually. There we go. Loch Anhead is next station. We are getting an awful lot of stations on this stretch. I had no idea there were so many. I think they know we're on our way now. So we got a fairly steep climb up to this station, and then we've got quite a steep downhill gradient as we leave it. Another black 5. Well, front 3 carriages were able to get up, or get off and take passengers on again. Anyway, so that was Loch Anhead. Couldn't see any of the houses in the area that this serves. Anyway, 1 in 77 downhill now, so yeah, we'll accelerate up to about 35 and let the gradient do the rest. It's now 1 in 73. I think it's about to get even steeper. I mean, 1 in 73 is already steep enough, thank you, but no, it looks like it's staying at it. So I'm wondering if Goldie Lee is the name of the actual hill that we are actually traversing. quite an impressive viaduct there. Oh, yeah, that looks like a hell of a place to live. Mind you, that looks like a sort of manor house, or probably the laird of this particular sort of area. Not paying attention, too busy checking the signals. I mean, everything was fine as far as those signals were concerned. This looks like a fairly major and also fairly modern industrial area there. If we're fairly close to Dumfries here, that could be the nuclear power station. Can't remember the name of it. I'm not seeing any I'm not seeing much in the way of actual power generating assets there. I mean, there's some of the electric pylons, but I think that's feeding power into rather than drawing power out, so I'm not sure quite what that is. If anyone knows, feel free to let us know. So Maxwell Town is our next stop. Blimey, I haven't heard an AWS alert on this route for a while. So things have certainly been modernised on the route around here. So I'm thinking we must be getting close to Dumfries by now. Especially as Carlisle is only about 35 miles away. Well, not quite every carriage. Again, the last two, yeah. Well, this end one again could have easily opened. It's just the end one that couldn't. Or the very end one, I should say, couldn't. Anyway, this is Maxwell Town. Looks like a fairly major town up ahead. Certainly very built up. That must surely be Dumfries. whatever town or whatever it is. We have a class 20 going by there. Doesn't seem to have a station. We've got buses, we've just had a class 20 pass by, we've got light aircraft going overhead, and we have tower blocks that we've just passed. We've got to be approaching a major area soon. Well, I mean, we are in one. Especially when you see the amount that's being loaded. And there we are at Dumfries, so that's why it's loading up so many assets, and why the stuttering is back with a fucking vengeance. Fairly short viaduct, but well, short as in height. Oh, that was close. I just noticed that signal was red, but yeah, it turned green pretty much as soon as our AWS alert went off. So no surprise, yeah, quite a major station here. So, Dumfries, the only stop that we have done so far where we've been able to get all carriages, yeah, with the doors opened. The only reason this front part here is because this is also the guard's wagon. So, yeah, there we are, Dumfries. So we have 33.86 miles to Carlisle. So we've still got a bit to go, I think, before we are before we actually enter England. So here we have a single yellow, so we do need to assume the next one is red. Another black 5. So that's the only signal I can see so far, but that's certainly not for us. Okay, so we've got nothing to worry about there. What about this one? Is that us? We'll find out. I think that means yes. And we can't go through it either, so what's holding us up here? Whatever it is, our ETA is saying that, yeah, it's not something that's bugged. So let's have a look and see if we can spot something that's coming on down the line. Well, I can't see a bloody thing. Well, let's take a look at the route. Where are we? Right here. So yeah, showing these all red. I'm trying to see why, and I'm not seeing anything. And we're green here. But there's an awful lot of red signals ahead of us. I mean, we are on the right line there at the moment, aren't we? Oh, hang on. This does seem to suggest that we could derail if we went through there. Because this point is set against us. But I can't see anywhere where we can alter this but yeah, our route here stops, and it does suggest that if we go over that, we're going to have problems, but I can't do anything about it. Nothing coming in or out of the yards. Nothing else is moving. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trains in the area. None of them are doing anything. Fuck it, I've got no alternative but to try it. So we'll see what happens when we reach the points that it was showing, which we are fast coming up to here. And there we go, see, so we did derail there. and for the reason that I, yeah. Okay. Well, I think we can do something about it because, yeah, that happened just as we left Dumfries. Right, so speeding 8 times and, well, the spad we can discard because I had to try something. But now, let's, I think it was Dumfries platform 3 we were on, wasn't it? Can't be because that's sending us the wrong way. There we go. Right, so I mean, this is only going to add like a few more yards to the route, so it's not that big a deal. Right. Now we are pretty much all set actually. Yeah. So we've got a new front code. We've already done the stop. Let's just check the. Can't see anything here. Bloody hell! What a. Hang on, no, that's the wrong. Yeah, that's Carlisle. Here's us. And yeah, it's taking us right through, so we should be alright here. So let's get back underway. Okay, I was wondering if that might have been around a football ground, but no, it's around the yeah, the train depots. Trying to remember what team it is that plays at Dumfries. It must be Queen of the South, surely. Right, 45. And very soon we are into a 75 zone. Although this train doing 75, that's quite optimistic. So, 75 zone, here we are. wonder if we will actually get any trackside views. Well, we're only really going to be able to get a couple of attempts at this because we have the next station coming up. So, racks. Well, hopefully it's a decent station because I am rather partial to nice racks. And if there's anyone out there who didn't predict that, then, well... So this is another Black 5 coming up. It is indeed. This really is a small old station. So yeah, front 3 carriages only. So yeah, this is racks. Small but perfectly formed, eh? Not my ideal. I much prefer big racks myself. Okay. So Carlisle is now less than 30 miles away. So we certainly haven't crossed the border into England yet. I wonder if there's anything to mark the point when we do. It could well be, but I'll almost certainly miss it. I was thinking that yeah, when we hit the West Coast main line, we'll know because of the overhead yeah, the overhead electrification, but of course this is set at a time where steam trains are still running, so there's definitely not going to be any overhead electrification on the West Coast main line, or at least there shouldn't be. then again, there wouldn't have been any AWS during the time of steam trains. So, yeah, I have no idea. Next station, pretty sure we are still in Scotland. Roosevelt certainly sounds Scottish. So he's just passed the black 5 and yet the AWS has just gone off. It is quite the mixture of time zones around here. Might get, yeah, front 4 carriages, but I don't think it's going to be any more than that. Perfectly timed. So, yeah, front 4 carriages here, so this is Roosevelt. Another short stop. There's got to be somewhere on this section where, yeah, we cross the border into England. So, another station coming along, Trees. What a fucking name. Coming in here a bit too fast. Well, we've very nearly got 6 of the carriages here. See, I think we could have easily got yeah, 6 of them. Yeah, they could easily have got out there. This is the only one that they couldn't. Anyway, this is Trees. What a place! What a name! And this is the sort of place where, yeah, if anyone asks you where you came from, you just say near Carlisle. Rather plush looking housing area there. There's a bit more than just mere farmhouses. Now that 45, that could be where we join the West Coast Main Line. That's where we're going over the points. maybe not if we're still approaching Annan. Okay, so I think it is, yeah, just the approach to Annan station. We can't be that far away from where we joined the West Coast Main Line though. Second time seeing that rather weird consist. So anyway, clearly we are still in Scotland as we are just approaching Annan. This is another fairly major stop. Surely we can fit the whole train on this platform. Yep, can do, no problem. So, this is Annan. It was a very short stop, but yeah, able to get the whole train on the platform. No problem really, right. East Riggs station coming up in a mile and a quarter. I wasn't planning on overshooting this station, but yeah, we're definitely going to. So according to the display there, all the carriages should be fine, but I mean there's no way the front one is. Okay, actually that's not too bad. Those two doors could easily yeah, be opened. So anyway, this is East Riggs. So the village, such as it is, looks like it's over there. Yeah, I got the braking rather bollocksed up for that one. Idea what that abandoned station was? Well, I can guess Brig. So we are going to be going through Gretna, specifically Gretna Green. Well, this is right on the border with England, so yeah, I think we're going to be pretty close to being in England as soon as we pull out of this station. So that 90 that's about a mile and a half along the line must be where we have joined the West Coast Main Line. Guessing another Black 5 approaching us. It is. Let's see how many, there's a fair few. I think there's about 5 carriages were able to open. So anyway, yes, Gretna Green, here we are. So we must be, you know, we pretty much are in England now. Ah, there is the, yeah, welcome to England marker there, just before the 90 zone. I mean, we're still in a 40 zone here, so yeah, I can't accelerate too much more. there it is. Welcome to England. So this abandoned station must be Gretna Cayley. Yeah, we're now in the 90 zone proper, so we can now... so does that mean this is... this is the West Coast Main Line as it was when before electrification. Well, that's something I like anyway. At least they've kept it constant. Another Black 5. Yeah, I do have other steam locos down the Black 5. I'm sure he could have chosen something else. So the Esca Viaduct, which is not a particularly impressive looking, yeah, not the most impressive of viaducts. That's some use, isn't it? Well, this is by far the fastest we have gone on this journey. 81 point, well, let's see if we can get to 82, but we have got to slow down to 75. get up to 83. Yes, but now we've got to start slowing. So this is Kingmore Freight Yard. I'm sure I've done a couple of, or at least one video where we started at Kingmore. But I think on the occasion when I did, it was on the West Coast Main Line North route DLC, because yeah, it was much more up to date than this. Double yellow is, yeah, okay. Sure, it looked like that signal actually went through the cab here. But, oh well. Oh, here we are. And there we go. So that was Stranraer to Carlisle. Although I do have a bit of editing to do. Yeah, well, let's start with the positives. It's a scenic route, and I do like the scenic routes, and I like that they've set, you know, even Carlisle and the West Coast Main Line in the right sort of time period as the rest of it. So you didn't have, you know, like, yeah, the overhead electrification and all that. And Carlisle looks, yeah, they've done a good job with the station here. Right, well, that's the positives. The negatives, yeah, that was like pulling teeth. That was awful. I hated it. Yes, I do like the route, but I like being able. I like doing it in bits. You know, the route itself is far too long and far too slow to really enjoy doing the whole thing in one trip. You know, so much so that I couldn't do it in one trip. I had to stop. Well, I had to stop, and I hadn't even got halfway through it. And then just to like really add to it, the stuttering turned a run that I was already not really enjoying into something truly hateful. The stuttering was ridiculous. Now I think that, like I say, I think that's partly due to the fact that I had cleared the cache and it was in the process of rebuilding it. But I also think, yeah, the PC needed a reboot, so that was my fault, that one. Then yeah, then the loco, they've underpowered it in this. The 52 accelerated better than it was in this thing. I mean, once it hit 45, in fact once it hit 40, its acceleration rate was pitifully slow, and you know, this thing in real life, it had two engines and it was capable of 90 mph. There's no way that its acceleration would have been that slow from 40 mph upwards. So yeah, they've not done a great job of the on the 52 in this game. This could be one that, yeah, could really do with an Armstrong Powerhouse enhancement pack, but yeah, they're not going to do the 52. So there we go. I mean, no, I didn't enjoy it at all, but you know, it was a request, and I'm not going to, you know, bail out of a request because I'm not particularly enjoying it, but yeah, I'm not sorry that one's over. Anyway, there we go. Never let it be said that I do not give my opinions. Something I always do. I'm not one of these people who will only give the same opinion of whoever I'm with, or you know, wait for someone else to give their opinion before I give mine, so that I can make sure my opinion is the same as theirs. In case you're wondering who I'm referring to there, yeah, it is Mainmeister. So yeah, that brings this review. Jesus Christ, me talking about fucking Mainmeister did that. Yeah, that brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.